Riyadh, your English teacher. Hope you are enjoying your stay at home. Today we are going to discuss Me and Uncle Romy, Lesson 8 selection. By now you should all have read the text, so in case you still haven't, I strongly recommend that you go and read the text before watching this video. And now let's discuss the main points that we are going to go throughout the text. First, the genre of the text. The genre of the text or the type of the text is realistic fiction. Of course, I'm going to cover this part in detail later. Then we are going to highlight the theme of the text or the lesson that the author wants the readers to know and to learn by the end of the story. Then we are going to talk about the author's point of view or who is telling the story. Then we are going to figure out how the readers should understand and learn about the characters of the story. The story starts with a kid whose name is James waiting on a passenger train for his aunt Nanette. James is supposed to spend his summer vacation with his aunt and uncle, Aunt Nanette and Uncle Romy. Let's check the illustrations in your textbook. The illustrations in the textbook show parts of a big city. Also, the people in the people in the illustrations, they seem realistic. So the text must be a realistic fiction text. So, what is the genre of the text or what is the type of the text? The text is a realistic fiction text. What does a realistic fiction text tell? It tells a story that could happen in our real life. So the illustrations, they show pictures of people that could be in our real life, places that could be in our real life. So this story, it must be a story that could happen in our real life. What does a realistic fiction text include? It includes characters and events that are realistic, that are similar to characters and events in our real life. It also includes details that help the reader to picture the setting of the story. As I said before, the story starts with a kid waiting on a passenger train. James, he's waiting for his aunt. James has never met his aunt or uncle before, and he has never been to New York City before. So what do you think the story's problem is? What is the story's main problem? The story's problem is that James is worried because he has never met his aunt or uncle before. He also doesn't know the place he will spend his summer vacation in. And now to James' uncle. What's Uncle Romy's job? He is a college artist. What is the meaning of a college artist? A college artist uses photographs, newspapers, clothes, and then he cuts and pastes all of these material onto a board to make his paintings. So he's not a usual artist. What kind of person is Uncle Romy? Uncle Romy is a hard-working and creative person. He spends most of his time in his studio working on his paintings and preparing for his coming art show. Since James now is in New York, so Aunt Nanette started to show him around the city. What was the first place that Aunt Nanette took James to? She took him to Harlem. What did James think about Harlem neighborhood? He liked Harlem the best of all the neighborhoods he visited. He enjoyed playing stickball, which is similar to baseball games he plays at home. James was supposed to spend his birthday with his aunt and uncle, but Aunt Nanette, she had to leave because an old aunt died. So how do you think James feel about his birthday after Aunt Nanette left? He felt that his birthday is ruined because he will have to spend it with Uncle Romy. He also thinks that Uncle Romy only knows and cares about his paintings. He doesn't know anything about baseball. He doesn't know anything about any of the stuff that James could care about. But James had the chance to look at some of his uncle's paintings. That's when he felt a little bit comfortable. So, what caused James to feel a little bit comfortable after looking at Uncle Rumi's paintings? He recognized the Harlem neighborhood and Harlem life in the paintings. So, when James saw the paintings of Uncle Rumi, he recognized that Uncle Rumi's paintings are about Harlem and Harlem life that he likes the best. So that most probably means that both James and Uncle Romy like Harlem. In that moment, James started to feel that there might be some stuff that they can share together. They might share some interests. Uncle Romy has an idea about people. What does Uncle Romy say about people? He said that people live in many different places and in different family groups, but they all care about the same things. So Uncle Romy believes that although people may live in different places and deal with different groups of people, after all, they may all care about the same things. People could all care about foods, songs, games, and stories. What interests do James and Uncle Romy share? So when James and Uncle Romy spent some time together, they both discovered that there are lots of stuff that they share together. For example, they both like baseball games, pepper jelly, peanuts, and watching trains. The pepper jelly is very important in the relationship between James and Uncle Romy. Why and how did they both like pepper jelly? James suggested that the paper jelly lady could be in one of Uncle Romy's paintings. As we said before, Uncle Romy is a college artist. James suggested that the paper jelly lady that sells the paper jelly could be in one of the paintings. Apparently, the relationship is improving. The more time that they spend together, the more that they discover that there is a lot to share together. What did James learn at Uncle Romy's art show? James learned that his uncle's paintings are making people remember their families, friends, and special times. How are Uncle Romy's ideas about people show in the paintings? As we said before, Uncle Romy's believes that people may live in different places but they could care about the same things. How is this idea reflected on the paintings? The paintings show groups of people in different places doing things that all people would care about. For example, like playing music. All people could care about playing music. So, his idea about people is reflected in his paintings. How did the author solve the main problem of the story? How was the main problem of the story solved? At first, Uncle Romy seemed weird and a little scary. To James, he was just his big uncle with the deep voice that only cares about the paintings and the art show. But when Aunt Nanette left for a few days, James and Uncle Romy got close while celebrating his birthday. What does the author want you to learn by the end of the story? What is the theme of the story? The theme of the story could be that people could be more alike than different. You have to get to know people before judging them. In other words, never ever judge a book from its cover. You have to spend time with we have to spend some time with people before judging them, before forming an idea about them. The author's point of view. All the stories have to be told from a certain point of view. Who is telling the story? James. So the story is told from James's point of view and according to what he thinks and what he believes. Is James a character in the story? Yes. So the author's point of view is the first person point of view. So when a character from the story or a character inside the story tells the story or narrates the story, then the author's point of view will be the first person point of view. Do you think that James can tell the readers how the other characters feel and what they are thinking about? No, James can only tell the readers about his own thoughts and feelings. How do you think the readers get to understand the story characters? How do we get to know more about the story characters? The author showed the readers what the story characters are alike by describing what they think, do, and say. The author tells the readers more about the characters by describing what the characters think about, what do they do, and what they say. So based on these details that the author provides us with, we can understand the characters and we can learn more about them. Thank you so much. See you in the next lesson, inshallah. Wish you all the best.